I'm about to show you 25 bottled water brands to stay away from, and why, as well as 10 you should actually be drinking, starting with number 25, Starkey Spring Water. When people shop at Whole Foods, they expect premium quality, not hidden health risks. But Starkey Spring Water, the store's in-house bottled water, has a long history of trouble. Independent tests, including those highlighted by Consumer Reports, found arsenic levels in Starkey that pushed close to, and in some cases above, the federal limit of 10 parts per billion. To put that in perspective, 10 parts per billion means just 10 drops of arsenic in an entire Olympic-sized swimming pool. Even at such trace levels, scientists warn that consistent exposure over years can increase the risk of cancer, skin lesions, and circulatory problems. Whole Foods has had to recall Starkey multiple times, pulling bottles off shelves after regulators flagged the high arsenic content. The most recent recalls were in 2019, proving this isn't an outdated concern. What makes it worse is the way the product was positioned: spring water, naturally sourced, while carrying one of the most infamous toxic elements on Earth. And this wasn't bargain water. Starkey is sold in glass bottles at a higher price, pitched as a cleaner, more sophisticated choice. Imagine paying extra for what you think is the purest bottled water, only to find out you're slowly ingesting a poison historically known for tainting wells and causing chronic illness. That betrayal makes Starkey a brand we consider a clear stay away. Number 24, Peñafiel. Peñafiel might not be a household name like Dasani or Aquafina, but you've probably seen it on the shelves at big box stores like Walmart or Kroger, usually sitting right next to other sparkling and mineral waters. It's owned by Keurig Dr. Pepper, the same company behind Canada Dry and 7UP. In 2019, this brand was suddenly pulled from shelves after Consumer Reports and the FDA flagged it for arsenic levels above the U.S. safety standard. That is not a small slip-up. Arsenic is one of the most toxic elements you can consume, even at low doses. Studies link chronic arsenic exposure to higher risks of cancer, heart disease, and developmental problems. The fact that a mainstream company allowed a brand under their umbrella to reach consumers with levels this high is alarming. What makes it sting even more is how Peñafiel was marketed. A crisp, refreshing mineral water, sold as a better choice than soda. But behind that image was a contaminant most of us associate with poisoned wells and unsafe tap water. The company did remove the affected bottles, but the trust is gone. Once a bottled water has been caught with unsafe arsenic levels, it's hard to believe it won't happen again. For that reason, Peñafiel Mountain logo, the words Alpine Spring across the label, and the promise of pure spring water straight from the source. But behind that clean image is a history that should make you think twice. In 2020, the company behind Crystal Geyser admitted in federal court that it had illegally stored and transported wastewater tainted with arsenic. This wasn't a small slip. They had to pay fines after prosecutors found they mishandled millions of gallons of contaminated water left over from their bottling operations in California. Now, that doesn't mean every bottle on the shelf was filled with arsenic. But what it does show is a troubling lack of care in how Crystal Geyser managed its production. If a company is willing to cut corners on waste disposal with something as dangerous as arsenic, how much can you really trust them when it comes to what ends up in your bottle? The brand still sells nationwide at places like Walmart, Target, and grocery stores, often positioned as a cheaper alternative to Poland Spring or Deer Park. But a bargain doesn't mean much